I'm going to give myself a little grace and allow one swear word here because I've done a good job so far. I haven't had any, and I swear a lot. But there is nothing I enjoy more than doing hard shit with good people.
Oh, it feels good, doesn't
These guys here do some really good people.
These guys here. I mean, FP, it seems like yesterday. It seems so. Sorry for the abrupt cut here. My muscles are a little bit twitchy right now. I gotta get my muscle memory back. It's been, I think the last show you and I did together was March. It was definitely post Super Bowl. I don't remember exactly.
It was post Super Bowl. I think it was
When was it?
I mean, hey, the stadium was still called FedEx Field. I know that. It's not called that anymore.
Jason Wright, I think, was still under the employ of the organization as well. Jaden Daniels had yet to be drafted. Correct. I gotta be honest, I've come full circle on him. I mean, there's so many things to.
He was the correct decision. Yeah, we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, I think he was the correct decision. Yeah, I was a Drake May guy, and although May's looked not terrible, right? He's been fine, right? Caleb looks great, but yeah, I'm excited about Jaden. It's I don't know. It feels like 2012, doesn't it? Just a little bit.
It feels way better than 2012.
No, let's not get carried away here. Do you want to talk Commanders first? I have a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk through. But
I'll go whichever way you want to sail. But
let's talk about summer.
It's better than 2012.
Let's talk about summer. No, because 2012 there was receivers on the team, and this current team doesn't really have receivers, right? We're not. I mean, come on.
The receivers that we have now are better than the equal push to the receivers we had in 2012.
I hate this podcast. I hate DC Sports because
they're a push.
People like you, just so we're clear. No, they're not a push.
Oh, okay. So
Pierre Garçon, not a push. There's no Pierre Garçon on this roster.
Yeah.
Okay. We're on the same page then.
That's Noah Brown is your new Pierre Garçon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you looking? You're looking for another Deshaun Jackson? Maybe we should go to Seattle and get Paul Richardson Jr. again for 5 yards.
I don't know what you're looking for, man. But like, don't tell me this receiving core. They just traded Jahan Dotson. Okay, we'll come back to the Commanders. I want to talk about summer. Let's talk about summer first.
Let's go.
Okay, so the last thing I remember on the show. So a couple things. We're changing the intro, right? I mean, for people that don't remember, we had this kick-ass intro, and I still love it. But Beal is not. I mean, he doesn't even reside on the East Coast anymore. The Nationals haven't been relevant in a while, although all the cruise missile stuff is kind of cool. So I got to be honest. I'm learning. I'm re-engaged, right? The Caps, you can talk about the Caps. Ovi is significantly older than when this clip was cut. Kirk is on his next team in Atlanta. Obama is pushing hard for, I guess Trump and Obama are still around, but and this song still kicks an acre of ass, but we got to redo it. I mean, that's the short story here.
There's nobody relative.
Yeah, it's time to redo it. So we're open to suggestions here. I'm gonna probably end up hiring a sound engineer to crank something out. There was a fan of the show, FP, about 4 months ago. It was definitely during our summer siesta or whatever you want to call it, where we're just we were talking sports but not recording sports, or not recording ourselves.
We were on strike. I didn't even know, but okay.
We were on strike. We lost. But there was a guy who actually clipped up some of our clips from the Bears game after the Bears game last season.
The anger that we had.
And he got a couple good clips of me and you and Stevie talking about that game. Stevie was, of course, doing his "I don't care, what are we talking about" thing. And then you were pretty upset about the kicking situation.
I'm pretty sure I was just dumbfounded by Ron in general.
Yeah, and then he's got me talking about the trash bag black, right? And it popped into my head, and I remembered that this fan had actually sent this in when I saw them on the field. Last week. They got to dump the black. The black unis. It was cool for a season, but I think they're actually terrible now.
Too Steelers-esque.
Well, they're too trash bag-esque for me. Sorry. So
the worst part is, if I'm not mistaken, this is top of my mind right now. I'm pretty sure we're wearing blacks against the Bears on a Thursday night primetime yet again.
Are we at home?
I think it's at home.
Then that's a colossal miscalculation. I'll just go ahead and yell now in advance. Please don't wear the opposing team's colors when you're in your own building. Northwest Federal Airlines building or whatever that's called now. I don't know. It's better than FedEx.
We need to come up with a nickname for the stadium.
It's like NWA Stadium or something now, right?
I think we need to call it like the Fed
I
or
mean,
something.
that's not bad. Did you come up with that right now?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Well, because
What's your
Capital
only-
One during the height of Wizards and Caps, what do we call it? Like the Vault?
I mean, I always refer to it as Cap One.
Yeah, but like the nickname was like the Vault.
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
Capital One, and
FedEx
then
is
now
the envelope.
FedEx is the envelope, or just the shit bucket. I don't know.
That's true, actually. I don't know, but I mean, this past week, the name came up again. Of course, we went down the Commanders vortex. Do you have a name that, like, if you could snap your fingers and change the name, not Redskins? Right? You're rocking a Redskins hat. I got a Washington football team hat on right now.
NFC East champions.
Yeah, I see it, baby. I see it.
2020.
What would you like if you couldn't pick either of those two names? I think a lot of people would be fine with football team, but if you couldn't pick either, like, what is your one seed name right now? Has Commanders grown on you at all?
Not at all. No.
It's too wordy.
No. And I the W logo has somewhat grown on me, but then if you take in the Northwest NW script plus the W for the Washington Commanders and you merge that together, it's just a lot of it's too up down. It's just like a foreshadowing of the
Two
team.
up down for the fans out there. Somebody chop that up. Two up down.
Two up down.
So what's your name? What's your snap your fingers and the name becomes?
No, I really don't care. I just want to win. That's all I care. I want to win, and I want our uniforms to be what they used to be.
A lot of people would be in your camp when it comes to this.
If you gave me the Commanders, if you force fed me Commanders, but you just kept the uniforms. If Tanya Snyder never got her hands on it, and you just kept the uniforms the way they were for Washington football team, right? Just rip off the word Redskins, put Washington, leave it simple.
Our team colors right now are not burgundy and gold.
No.
I actually don't know what
they're
Jim
red,
Zorn.
White, black, and yellow.
Yeah, it's the Jim Zorn. Actually, I need to find that clip, right? When during his press conference, he was just naming out, colors.
No more living in the past, though.
Okay.
New team. This is why I'm telling you. This is why I'm telling you it's better than 2012, because this is the first time that you have owner, obviously, but this is the first time that you have new GM, new head coach, new quarterback. 2012, you didn't have that. 2012, you had old coach, new quarterback, and he shook it up and took Kirk as well.
Yeah, two quarterbacks, yeah.
Also
a running back.
But think hard about this. Go as far back as you can. We've actually never had new GM, new coach, new quarterback all to start the season.
We had Ron.
Never had it.
Fitzpatrick.
Nope. But then you had your old GM trash.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, fine. I mean, look, I'm excited for the season. In our offline chat, we keep going back and forth on 6.5 games. I'm hesitant to go over the 6.5. I want to, and in years past when we would do the schedule breakdown, maybe we'll do that next week before week 1 actually kicks off. I always end up at like 10 wins, 11 wins, and that's the homer part of me that just wants.
Yeah, you bring an LP, we're at 14 wins in the conference championship.
Anything for this team to be relevant and to win, but I don't know if they got 6.5. It just seems like a big number. It just seems like a big number. I think Razzie got them at 5.5, like way in the preseason. I like that one. I think they'll get to 6.
I'll give you a 6.5, but I'll tell you what, I won't be mad at it if the team looks good in the losses, right? If it's hard-fought games.
You're doing that moral victory nonsense.
No, not moral victory. Remember the
trash. They lost by
No. Not how much they lost by. Okay. Remember the trash that Ron Rivera trotted on the field. What we really need to talk to is how bad of a 4-year draft period Ron Rivera had and how far back this team is because of that idiot.
Well, there's no one on the roster from 21
or 20.
And Ridgeway got traded, so I think there's 2 from. I mean, it's ugly, man. I don't know what else to say. It's ugly.
But if you give me 7 wins, right?
But on
Let's say you get 7 wins, but all your losses are aren't blown out of the water, not losing by 50 to the effing Bears.
I just don't. I don't like these are professional. I don't ascribe to the moral victory thing. I can't do it.
I'm not considering a moral victory. I just want to see a well-coached team. If you lose, you lose. I just want to see a well-coached team. The Texans, before they became the Texans and went on their run, for the first half of the year, they weren't winning their games, but everyone was like, "This is a good Texans team," and then it clicked.
I could be on board with that. I think I can be on board with that. Yeah, like, just see them be disciplined. Honestly, I mean, my number one concern going into the season, FP's got to be the defense. It's so leaky. That secondary, right? Like, I don't know who's going to catch. Like, who on the roster right now could you pencil in for 50 catches? 50. Terry. Anyone else?
Noah Brown is statistically
you're way too high. You're way too high.
He is look. I'm a numbers guy. You look at the numbers. Yeah, you look at who the QBs were. He's statistically a push, but he's a bigger target and faster. How is that a bad thing?
This isn't a hot take. This is my legitimate opinion. Actually, I'm willing to make a bet on this. Zach Ertz is going to outcatch him by a lot. I think he's going to double his number.
I would love that because a healthy Zach Ertz means this offense is flying.
But it also means that there's no one else to catch passes except Terry McLaurin. Terry right now is going to be staring at double teams.
Listen, I need you to think back to last year.
Okay.
I'm in. Think about your receivers. Where did Jahan Dotson go? How many games did we see Pringle get targeted deep?
How good this offense looked early in the season, specifically the first couple of weeks.
No.
The comeback in Denver. No.
That was the Eagles, the same Denver team that lost by 70 points to Miami.
I know
this was not a good team at all last year.
I'm not saying they were a good team, but Jahan at least presented the threat.
Jahan disappeared last season, and that's why he's not on the team this season.
I'm also not comfortable with trading him to a division rival, but
I will concede
Eagles,
that.
Look at what the Eagles did this offseason. They grabbed the stud running back from a division rival. They grabbed. We won't say stud.
Don't call him stud.
Okay, a receiver from a division rival. They weakened both of their division rivals and improved their team.
I still don't see it as us being weaker.
Jahan gets to play opposite AJ Brown, and as much as I love Terry McLaurin, he's not AJ Brown.
No,
he needs to play in a system with a proven quarterback. I'm not a big Jalen Hurts guy, but you can't argue with tush push and all the things that they do there either. Like this is a good. They don't, but I mean, it'd be okay.
They also have quarterback coach controversy turmoil.
Well, I don't know how much of that they have, but
no, there's your hot take. Sirianni's getting fired at the end of the season. Bill Belichick's the next Eagles coach. You heard it here first.
Just clip it. 13 minutes in the first pod of the season. Season 8 of the pod or 9 is well underway. We got to figure out what season we're in here. But all right, so damn it, we said we weren't going to go down the Commanders wormhole. So let's talk. Okay, go back in time here for a second. So the draft was good.
Yes.
They didn't address the secondary, which is bad.
They kind of did,
but not really.
Not via free agency, which I'm okay with.
Or the draft. I mean, they didn't. The
draft still is great.
Okay.
He's a stud.
Okay. So
back to our number 0.
I think the offseason went as well as it could have, honestly, for the Commanders. Like, given all of the stuff that they were trying to deal with, right? You have new coaching from top to bottom. Like you mentioned, front office staff is totally different. They had a really good offseason, right? Like in years past, we would hype ourselves up that they had a good offseason, right? We were getting excited about a Ryan Fitzpatrick edition or maybe even go back further, Adrian Peterson, who actually came in and played great, right? But like there's a youth movement here that I think a lot of people are excited about. And Jaden has looked really good, right? Like I wasn't a Daniels guy, but I am excited. I don't think I don't know what I think. I'm hesitant to say he's going to be better than RG3, but I'm also hesitant to say that he's not. Like he's got the ability to surpass him, and if he does, the city will embrace him, and the fans will come out, and the flags will be out, and then the name change will be not because the name change is going to be like we have a real team here. Like the fans are excited. You got to give us a better name.
I don't like. I understand making the comparisons between JD5 and RG3. Right? I'm even going to do the initials and the number. I understand it.
It's not a thing, but okay.
It's a thing. You're just not with it. It's a thing.
Okay. It's with it.
Even to the point where like Nissan Heisman House, they just released a trophy with RG3 walking Jaden Daniels down the hall of the Heisman House. He's like, "Follow me this way, rookie," and he like unlocks like a freezer and he lets out Reggie Bush. It's actually a really good commercial that just came out. But I don't like I understand the comparisons. I don't like the comparisons because there's one major difference. RG3 can't read like a passing book. Jaden Daniels knows all the passing routes. He knows how to be a passing quarterback. So that shift when RG3 broke himself and he's like, "Oh, I want to be a passing quarterback."
Couldn't do it.
He didn't have that in him. Jaden Daniels already has that in him. He is experienced in it. He spent a long time in the NCAA, right? Learning different offenses, actually showing and proving that he's a passer.
Himself? Can he slide? Can he learn to throw it away instead of forcing the action down the field? Because he's only got one real target 20 yards down the field.
No, he has plenty of targets, dude.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who?
Austin Eckler, Ertz, De'Ami Brown looks great. Noah Brown, I need you to go back and look at highlights of Noah Brown.
This is nuts how like obsessed you are. This is
I don't understand. I don't understand how you are putting so much stock in a person that Ron Rivera drafted, and you're like, "Oh, I can't believe we lost a Ron Rivera draft pick." Think about that for a second. Jahan Dotson.
Well, I don't know what you want.
We could have had Olave.
Oh well, no, let's not go down that road. But
I'm just saying, Jahan Dotson.
I don't think they got enough
stretch. He was a stretch at where we drafted him.
You knew he could outrun some defenders. You knew he
didn't do it last season.
Well, but it's not fair. Sam, noodle arm. Like, come on.
Sam didn't have a noodle arm, but he also had 5-step drops and passed 1,000 times a game, and yet Jahan still couldn't do anything.
I have embraced the backwards hat and Dan Quinn and this staff. Right. I think Cliff is on a mission to show he still got it, and he can. It's very Shanahan-esque to me, Kyle. Like it just feels like when Kyle went to Atlanta and he had to like reinvent himself. Because if you remember, Kyle left DC for Cleveland with RG3, if I'm not mistaken, and they ran basically the same offense, and it didn't work, and RG3 got hurt again.
His reinvention came under Quinn in Atlanta.
Right? And that's why I'm saying it feels similar to me in the sense that Kyle had to show he could take a completely different style quarterback and build around him. And they did, and they made it to the Super Bowl. Right? So this just feels like that to me. Like I feel like Dan called Cliff and said, "Hey, this is your ticket back in. You need to come in here and develop a different style of offense than you've typically run in the past, right? And see what you can do. Like this is your ticket back to you do this well. He's the most likely. Like if you were gonna pick odds right now, you got Ben Johnson maybe in Detroit, but Cliff's got to be in that top 3, 4, 5 before a single play has been played or a pass thrown.
It's a stretch
from a coordinator perspective. Like most likely from a betting odds perspective, he's got to be in the top 5, most likely to accept a head coaching position.
I don't think he's at a rush to accept a head coaching.
I don't think
he did the head coach thing. He didn't like it. I think he likes to be offensive mastermind guy. I don't think he likes head coach guy. It's kind of like
his work cut out for him.
It would be the equivalent. Like I would put Cliff's career trajectory similar to Jay Gruden's. Offensive genius, you go out on your own, you suck at head coach.
No,
the difference is Cliff came back into the league. Jay didn't come back into the league.
Jay is undersold.
Jay's offensive mastermind is never questioned. He just can't be a head coach.
But not just his mastermind, like not just his ability. Half of the league's coaches came off of Jay Gruden. Yeah. And they're all offensive focused. Like he will never get enough credit for growing this many. I mean,
no, I'm giving him the credit.
just
but I'm
think
saying he sucked at being a head coach.
I understand, but Jay Gruden, as in your words, a sucky head coach, has more successful coordinators turned head coaches than Belichick, the most decorated head coach.
Belichick has nobody on his tree.
I mean, he had a couple. He had Charlie Weiss and Mike
Trash.
Vrabel was a
Trash.
mediocre upper. But yeah, it doesn't touch the players that or the coaches that grew up under Jay. Jay would never get enough credit for that. But
anyways, Cliff, if he does well, I would say at least Ben Johnson similar, where I feel like he is somebody that, like, if you do well this season, we would very clearly identify things that Adam Peters and Quinn need to address on this roster going into next season. And I feel like Cliff is going to be like, we're building something here. I want to stay a la Ben Johnson.
I hope so too.
And maybe by season 3, season 4, okay, he goes, right?
Sure.
But if we have stability, then I'm fine with it.
I think that's a fair assessment too. I mean, I think Dan has assembled he's got 4 former head coaches on this roster. 5?
4.
Right.
Cliff, Anthony Lynn.
I gotta go back and look.
Himself. I don't know.
I think it's 4. Anyway.
It's a solid staff. You didn't like the staff when he was making all those
I didn't
hires.
love it initially. But again, like a lot of this is also just at the end of last season, it was so clear how far forget about the team itself that ended last season. Like, we are fans of the franchise, not the individuals. Like every team is going to have down years, but as a franchise, I don't think the Redskins football team Commanders has really ever been at a lower point in our adult life, maybe in our entire life.
Then Ron Rivera, I agree.
And the Ron, entirely. Like that is, yeah. I mean, it was hard to wear a hat. It was hard to talk about. Like, there was nothing to point at to say, like once upon a time. I mean, there was some lean years in the early 2000s, but the fan base was nuts. Like, even like guys like
we were stripped bare. We didn't connect with the uniforms, the name, the product on the field. Like, none of it.
On 2/2/22, when they went out there, Commanders and all that, we make fun of it now, but like the heritage of the team died inadvertently. I don't think they intended to do it, but why the colors? Like, why? I mean, and then every misstep that comes after. Think about what this fan base, this eroding fan base, had to endure. How many people ejected after the name change? How many people ejected when the colors changed? How many people, ejected when after the poo slush came down?
It wasn't even that stuff. Like all of that stuff,
the Sean Taylor Memorial, then
all that stuff, the fan base would have endured if Ron Rivera was just.
No, I don't think so.
Just a common sense coach.
I don't put this
if he
on
just
Ron.
Practiced a little bit. I 100% put this on Ron. He was the guy. He sold the bill of goods to Dan Snyder of the Bill Belichick model. Let me be top bottom.
I have said this all before. Of it. I will stand by this, I think, forever. I don't think Snyder cared who was coaching the team.
I agree.
I think he was.
What I'm saying is Ron Rivera sold the bill of goods that he can be that stabilizing force. But the problem is he stabilized trash doo-doo. He stabilized mediocrity. Like, that was what he stabilized.
How hard would it be to hire somebody who is going to whiff on 80% of their draft picks?
All of the success came off of the Jay Gruden roster he was left with.
Yeah,
and then once
he eroded it. Like, there's he destroyed the offensive line. I mean, he traded, he cut a long snapper. That was great. He traded away a kicker who is amazing by comparison to the trash we've had on the roster ever since. Right. Yeah. So, the missteps were numerous for sure.
I mean, his saving factor is, he landed Cosme. Yeah, well, Cosme only came in because he cut Brandon Sheriff. Like, there's nothing good that Ron Rivera did.
I agree 100% with this. Yes.
But with that being said, all right, let's shift a little bit, right? With that being said, aside from wins and loss record, what do you consider, like, what do you need to see from this team to consider it a successful season outside of wins and losses, outside of the actual record? What do you need to see? I have a very easy answer.
Well, don't tell me your answer. I need to think about this for a second. It's a good question. Like, to me, Okay, I have my answer. Tell me yours, and I'll tell you mine.
Sweep the Giants. That's it.
I mean,
if you can add the Cowboys on top of it, great. Sweep the Giants. That's all I need to see to be like, okay, the team's back.
Yeah. Don't let Daniel Jones run for 110 yards straight down the middle of the field for 2 long touchdown runs. Okay, I can support this. I'm going to say my victory, to throw this back to our friend Goose Allen, I need to see them win off the field. I need the fan base to come back. I need people to care. I need people to call, some of the shows I listen to on a daily basis, the sports talk shows, and be like, have a like, I'm not asking for the Super Bowl fever pitch, right? But like 2012 is recent enough, FP, where we can remember what this city was like rallying around, especially early in the season, right? Like you didn't know what you had with Alfred Morris, but people were ready to embrace him. You had an idea that RG3 was going to be special, but like nobody was primed for what happened. And I don't think Daniels doesn't need to be RG3. He just needs to be better than Heineke, Howell, Alex Smith, Josh Jones, or whatever his name was, or whatever. Like he just needs to be better than that. Even Alex Smith, he just needs to be better than the revolving door. Like show us that we got a guy who's going to start 3 seasons, 4 if we're lucky, like Kirk did at the quarterback position. Show us that this position, when we go into the offseason, we check it as safe. Don't address. No problem.
Yeah, like same starter from this season to next season would be nice.
Yeah, we how many times have I said it? I mean, this show is 8 years old or whatever it is, right? I mean, maybe 9. I mean, I would give anything to go back in time and sign Kirk to a long-term deal because it would have changed the trajectory of the franchise. Jay Gruden would have likely not lost his job, but more importantly, you wouldn't have to go out. You wouldn't have started this carousel of mediocre quarterbacks, and all for what? Kirk wanted $22 million, and they were only going to offer him 18. Like, think back to like what do you get for 18 million now in this league?
Devil's advocate of that. Had you signed Kirk to a long-term deal, let's say you start winning, what if that means you're stuck with Snyder for longer, or he never sells?
No, you're not going to like my answer here.
You would take Snyder if the wins came with Kirk?
If the team is winning, I don't think you get the pressure on Snyder to change the name. I don't think you get the pressure on Snyder to have all of the shenanigans exposed. And I'm not excusing any of it, but we would still be sitting here talking about the Redskins if Kirk was the quarterback and they had averaged 9 wins a season.
Yeah.
The reason we're talking about the football team / Commanders is because they kicked the franchise. Forget about Snyder in particular, but all of the pressure mounted. It was a perfect storm of the team is losing, the league doesn't want him, and the fans just want a team that cares, right? Like, I don't think it's that much of a stretch, FP. I think if you're winning 8-9 games, you're not redrafting quarterback. I mean, think about who they've drafted. I mean, how many high draft picks were spent on quarterback? Or you would have likely kept your receiving core in place as well. Like it's so many like little things that if you have stability at this position,
I think you remember that receiving core way better than I do.
No, I'm not saying that it was. I'm just saying it was serviceable at the time Kirk left, right? Like it was good enough. Maybe even it was top half of the league. Again, and maybe I'm over romanticizing some of this.
I think a little bit over romanticizing.
But anyways, like competitive team. Just go back a little bit. Every competitive team in the league has stability at quarterback, right? And every non-competitive team has lack of stability at quarterback. So you had a guy and you refused to pay him the $22 million he asked for.
Well, why are we talking Kirk, man?
Receivers.
We got Jaden Daniels. Eyes forward.
I'm a Kirk guy. I'm just saying.
We're eyes forward. We no RG3 talk. No Snyder talk. No Ron Rivera talk.
London pairing.
Come on, man. Eyes forward. We got Jaden Daniels. You got Terry McLaurin. Austin Eckler looks fantastic.
I love the Austin Eckler signing.
He looks amazing.
I actually love the Zach Ertz signing too.
Yes.
Vincent, it looks
Jonathan
great.
Allen actually looks like he wants to be alive in Ashburn, Virginia.
He looks a
little slimmer.
Yeah.
Like actually, he actually cares to be in shape.
Yeah. I mean, did any of the cuts surprise you? Martavis Bryant maybe surprised me a little bit because I think he actually looked okay-ish, but
no.
Okay.
None of the cuts were surprising. If anything, like every time LP would text me in the middle of the workday, and he's like, "We cut so and so, we cut so and so," I'd be like, "Good, good." The less Ron Rivera fingerprints on this team, the better.
It was a lot, but I mean, Quinn. I mean, every coach brings their guys, right? Like Quinn brought Witt and like.
I'm not talking coaching staff. I'm talking about we gutted 4 years of Ron Rivera draft.
It was a bad roster,
and it was needed. And
AP inherited a terrible roster.
Yeah, it wasn't even a real NFL roster.
Yeah, it was the worst roster in the league. Who had a worse roster?
Easily.
Arizona, maybe Arizona.
Arizona was good. Arizona was their roster's not bad. Their defense is better than our defense.
Who's on the Panthers that you want? Adam Thielen, Bryce Young.
What I'm saying is I would take a Panthers roster.
Oh yeah.
Over what Ron Rivera built.
Listen. This sounds a whole lot like my Jag a couple years ago when I told you I'd rather have the Cleveland roster, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you want?" Or I told you I'd rather have the Detroit Lions roster. And everybody's like, "No. That was during the again lean years." Okay, we'll focus forward. But anyway, we ended up talking about the Commanders the entire time anyway. But
there's so much to cover.
There's a lot. I mean, we have,
and it's 10 days away from the season. I mean, it's fair to talk about football.
It is. It's exciting to see what the league is doing too with Thursday night football to start.
Exciting. It's terrible. What are you talking about?
Why?
You have to spend like $700 a year to catch every football game. Oh. I need Peacock, YouTube TV, NBC
Reddit,
Plus, NFL Network.
You got
Amazon
friends,
Prime.
Bars you can go to. What are you upset about? Aren't you the football all the time guy? Give me football.
I am football all the but
so
why do I have to pay?
So I'm not
$35 a website to watch a game.
I want all my football on Sunday and Monday, and that's it. It's too much.
Did you know if you place a $5 bet on a new account in FanDuel, you get 3 months, 3 weeks?
First of all, okay, so this is a good pivot. First of all, I had to delete all the betting apps off my phone. I don't trust myself anymore. I'm out. Like that's why I text you guys when you're
not really out if I'm just fronting your bets for you.
No, I mean I'll ship you some chips, but I can't have it on my phone because and this was one of the things I want to talk about, right? Like fantasy football. I'm in season 21 of this legacy league. Nobody cares. Nobody knows the players. Nobody has any interest. Like 21 years ago when this league started, the core 8 people, very little turnover in this league. 9 of us were single, no kids, no significant others, like all in super invested.
I mean, I think you're answering your own question as you say it.
But do you honestly still care about fantasy football at this point?
I stopped caring about fantasy football as soon as FanDuel came on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, between all the incessant advertising and the whatever, yeah, but not just FanDuel. I think daily fantasy also killed the legacy fantasy football model. Like,
fantasy football was fun as a way to bet, the same way March Madness was, right? You pay $20, whatever you're going to do, you get in on a bracket. You pay $100, you do whatever you do to get in a fantasy league, and then you jab with the guys, right? Whatever you try to win, you get bragging rights. That's all fun and dandy. But the LP keeps trying to shit talk me about my fantasy football and how he beats me 3 weeks out of every NFL season or whatever, and he always does better than me. But then I just poo-poo on him back because I'll place one first TD bet on a Sunday.
That's your move.
Bank $550, and I'm like, okay, it's as if I won first place in fantasy. I don't care anymore.
So do you think it's just because there's more money involved, or because there's money involved?
I think once you
there's just too many players to care about.
I think it's just the gambling. I think it's not worth it anymore. There's a pro and con to FanDuel, right? I hate all the commercials, right? Ugh. I hate how it kind of pulls away.
I mean, do they even have daily fantasy anymore?
I'm sure they do.
But it's all sports books. Everything's sports books.
Yeah.
Right? MGM Bet and then FanDuel and the other one. I'm blanking.
But they make. I mean, and this is a conversation that you've had the last 2-3 years about the NFL as a whole. They make those terrible games bearable, watchable, a reason to watch it. You place a bet, you make a parlay, you have a reason to watch it.
You got to sweat. Yep.
Because, as you've said, some of these NFL games are terrible.
I mean, a bad NFL game. I mean, I'm already dreading like mid fall or early.
Yeah, like Panthers Raiders on a Thursday night.
I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. I'll have you place a bet, but I'm not watching. I'm gonna fire up the Xbox. I'm gonna watch some early NBA. Like I know I'm in the minority, but I can't watch bad football. I can't. There's got to be something novel about the game. If they're playing in a ice storm, I'll watch. Right, but if it's just two bad teams, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's too many. And the FIFA, the anti like FIFA occasion. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but from a video game perspective, FIFA or FC, whatever it's called, FC 24, FC 25, dunks all over Madden. And I truly believe it's because the gameplay is nonstop. Like the ADHD generation doesn't want, even in a video game, doesn't want to stop to pick a play. They just want to play. And I think it translates to, I mean, you have commercial breaks. Look at what the NFL did this offseason to address the lack of kickoffs or kickoff returns.
The new rule's weird.
It's weird. But people will tune in to see it because it's novel and then immediately be turned off because there's a commercial break.
It also took 110 years for them to put a chip in the fourth down measurement ball.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And they still can't figure it out.
Well, I mean, look, VAR has, some people would say, ruined soccer, like from a legacy perspective, because everything is like perfect now, and it's still not perfect, and not all competitions use it. So we saw this over the summer.
Yeah,
right? Like Olympic soccer doesn't have VAR, but EPL has VAR, and the Euro, most of the Euro leagues have different variants of VAR depending.
Euro Cup was better than Copa.
Yeah, so it's still very messy, but the NFL really doesn't compete with anyone. It's crazy that they don't have chips in the ball as well. Like, why can't you tell me exactly where the ball went out of bounds?
Especially if you're going to give me a commercial every 25 seconds about Amazon's Next Edge Prime, whatever statistics that they do.
ESPN Next Gen Stats. Tyreek is running 36 miles an hour from here to here and then jumps like a whatever.
But you have to have a fat guy like me
trotting down the side,
walk on and use chains and index card and be like, is this far?
Where'd the ball go out of bounds? It's where I threw my hacky sack from 6 yards away. Come on, man! Like some of this, but they got to find a way to speed up the game.
But
that's baseball. It helped baseball a lot.
It did. Right? But introducing and again, pros and cons to betting, right? If you're bringing in all these sports books and it's starting to get included into some of these NFL stadiums, and betting gets its hands on football, one of the benefits can be, okay, there's a lot more pressure now for better officiating.
Or less tolerance for poor officiating.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the very few benefits.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. But the game is so start-stop. Like, we'll be excited for the first couple of weeks, right? And I'm going to watch every Commanders game. But
I have a different mindset for my team versus the 31 other teams.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'll sit through the trash, all commercial breaks, all the replays, all the timeouts, whatever, for my team, just because I'm constantly hyped that it's my team. But if it's another game, well, that's the other question, is until you realize that the team is the product on the field is trash.
Or more you start fast when the food ends also, right? Like, this is actually my new problem. I was just telling somebody about this. My new issue with watching a football game is you sit down with a sandwich. The sandwich is gone by the second commercial break. What do you do after that?
Slowly eat a Reese's every 15 minutes.
This is my new problem, right? The speed eating, like, the food doesn't last, man. Like,
well, I got the hookah to keep me busy, so I'm good.
Okay. I mean, it sounds
like we're healthy, but I'm good.
Football, like fantasy football, legacy fantasy football, just nobody cares. And I wonder if some of it also has to do with what happened with like the NBA and basketball. Like, you used to watch players in college. I was never a college football guy, but like, you knew who was getting drafted and where they went. With NIL and the way this portal works now, like, you could have a guy getting, like, the top 10 guys or whatever it is, right? Because they're on TV constantly leading up to the draft. But do you really know like where the 40th pick went to school for all 40? Like, there's such a disconnect. And I know some people disagree with me, but
I think I feel like NIL is gonna reverse the disconnect. Why would you be in a rush to leave college and go to the NFL if you're making money in college? If you're in a market, if you're in a program where you get a lot of NIL money,
why leave?
Why leave to go to a team
unless you're guaranteed? Yeah,
right. Why am I gonna leave and get a $5,000 signing bonus when I could stay and make NIL money and give myself a better shot next draft?
But most of the players that enter the portal want to start, so they're more or less either they're unknowns or they're blocked from starting for some reason, and thus they go into the portal and switch teams. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, college football has other problems and fish to fry. I mean, their conference alignment is crazy. I was reading about this. Actually, it was
Did you watch the documentary today that I told you about, the Michigan one?
The Sign Stealers? No,
yeah,
not yet.
Very good.
Well, you also recommended the McNair documentary, and I'm not going to watch it.
No. Stevie recommended the McNair one.
Terrible. I mean, I couldn't get through it. It's terrible.
No, but the sign stealing one is good.
All right. Okay. I'll take a look. We didn't talk about the Olympics. I'm just curious, though. Did you watch a bunch of it?
I watched the last 4 men's basketball game.
I mean, do you get excited for the Olympics, or if it's
all? I mean, women's beach volleyball was fantastic. I definitely watched that.
True. Yeah, that was good.
But the basketball was good. I do watch the gymnastics. That was good. And then some of the obscure stuff is fun to watch.
I like the swimming. I don't understand the horseback riding, shooting, then do jumping jacks one. I don't get that one.
I like the bike Peloton lap. Breakdancing is. They removed it. It's not.
Of course. Because it was me and you going up there just doing something, and then some randos. I mean, might as well just have
if you gave me a pair of jeans, vote. If you give me a pair of jeans that were 3 sizes too small, and you're like, try to put this on in front of everybody, I would have looked exactly like that girl.
Yeah, I mean, big boy yoga. That's good. Maybe that's how we ran the show. Big boy yoga. Yeah, I mean, I watched a fair amount. My kids really got into it. So like swimming, gymnastics. Every night. The track and field was awesome also.
It was nice to just always have some form of sports to put on.
That wasn't baseball.
What was really nice was going from Copa and Euro straight into Olympics.
Yes.
Basically straight into NFL.
Close. Yeah. Have you been watching the WNBA at all?
I will watch highlights of Caitlin Clark, because that's apparently the only thing that they will put on the talking shows. Yeah.
The U.S. women almost lost in the that final. It was cool to see USA France in both men's and women's basketball finals on like back-to-back nights. It's also interesting that they had the men play first. Typically, the men would play second. That's the bigger draw on Sunday or whatever, the Sunday morning as opposed to Saturday night. But nonetheless, that was interesting to see both countries kind of lock in. And obviously, like for my perspective, like I was interested to see what Bilal Coulibaly was doing and Alex Sarr. Like it was good to see, like it was like a precursor maybe to what we're hopefully what they'll bring to the Wizards. But the Commanders are not bad enough that I care about the Wizards yet. Does that make sense? Like that, like I know that day is coming, but we're not there yet. That's like a late October situation.
It's around Halloween. Yeah.
Like pre-Thanksgiving when you know you're safe field.
That's really when I start dialing in. I will watch a Caps game gladly over, anything Redskins related.
I'm tracking.
Those Sunday Caps games, they become a lot more enjoyable than those Sunday Redskins games.
I'm looking forward to coming home from church on Sunday, cracking the window open, like that crisp fall, like breeze where it's
talking my language.
Where I need the blanket, but like only half my one leg.
Just give me hoodie weather. That's all I want.
Or hoodie weather, right? And then, but the food is the problem, right? Because we got pizza coming, and then like one of two things happens: you have 2 slices between commercial breaks, and you're like, what the hell am I going to eat for the next 3.5 quarters? Or you go the opposite route, and you just keep eating, and then you realize you downed a pizza and a half, and now what? Like you can't talk, you can't walk. I mean, maybe these are fat boy problems. I don't know. But like, this is a problem.
You eat, you push it to third quarter. That's when you start eating.
I mean, that's a pro move. That's an old move before.
And kids, then you fall asleep for the 4:00 game.
First half only. Wake up for the fourth.
Wake up for the fourth if it's a good game, which you'll hear,
and then eat again.
And then you eat again. Take care of yourself. Sunday Night Football.
Yes, which is almost always the best game of the day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Best commentators, best game.
Yeah, that's a Peacock staple. I mean, I feel like they do actually the best job. That studio team do highlights of everything. It's good.
I'm excited to see how Brady does on Fox. I think he's going to be terrible.
Apparently there's a conflict. They haven't actually cleared him to call games because if he's approved to be a minority owner, he won't be allowed to criticize the refs. He won't be allowed to do the pregame scouting, like to learn about because he's got a vested interest in another team. So yeah, I was reading about that. I don't know where I saw that, but it's interesting to see what like that isn't confirmed. And he's making what 30 million talking about football, whereas he's probably making double that owning a couple percentage points of a team.
This is still is it the Raiders? That's the
Raiders. Yeah.
Why would you want to buy the Raiders? I don't get it.
I mean, come on, man. If they offered you, if you had the ability to buy 0.5% of the Bengals or the Panthers, you would do it in a second too.
My question is, did all of this happen because of Ballers? Did Ballers set in motion the Raiders moving and celebrities buying if
we're talking about HBO showrunners and producers seeing the future, are you an Entourage guy?
I'm an Entourage guy.
Okay, Entourage predicted Aquaman and like comic book movie phenomenon.
Yeah,
that was they
also predicted Veep.
They predicted Veep. They predicted Narcos and the story of Pablo Escobar like being a big deal and a huge. I mean, it was a flop in Entourage, but it was real in like in real life. It was a huge success.
Right.
Narcos and the Escobar story.
Yeah.
They also predicted the NFL moving, like you said, to not to Vegas, but to LA. Remember, Ari Gold was going to bring the LA Golds.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like that was in there too. Like there was a ton of stuff actually that was buried in there.
So Entourage is like the live action Simpsons when it comes to predicting.
I'm just saying, like I didn't realize it until maybe like a second or third rewatch not too long ago. But you're right. Ballers predicted the Raiders. I mean, that was kind of known anyway, but like if you look at what Entourage like truly predicted, like normal guys becoming superstars because of comic book movies and as I mentioned, like LA getting a football team, and there was some other stuff that was written that I remember like mentally taking notes on. But yeah, the HBO showrunners, I'm not gonna say they saw the future, but like they saw something, right? Like they knew what they were writing.
Yeah,
it's a super underrated show. Like Ari. You can't give him a spinoff of this day and age, but that would have been a good show. That would have been a good show.
I wanted Jeremy Piven, the actor who played Ari. I want him to be this. This was just a thought I had during a re-binge of Suits. But the guy from Green Arrow or whatever is supposed to be the new Harvey for like the LA Suits. I want Jeremy Piven to be the new Louis Litt.
That's not a bad idea.
But I want him to be Ari. I don't want him to be like quirky Louis Litt. I want him to be like D-bag Ari.
When was the last time you got through Suits rewatch?
I've been doing it now actually because I made the seat on the Peloton a lot more comfortable. And I don't do Peloton classes anymore. I just Netflix on it.
You get the wide
it's a big boy seat.
Really?
Yeah, you could fit two normal girls on.
Does anything fall asleep when you
no
for a while?
No, everything.
You doing 30s or 45s?
I'm doing one Suits episode.
You're doing 10 minutes.
One Suits episode, and then I call it.
So 35 minutes? 40 minutes?
35, 40.
That's not bad. So with Suits in particular, season 1 and 2 are outstanding. Season 3 is bearable. Anything after that is really bad. And by the time you get to like 6, 7, it's really
bad. I think I've decided I can get all the way spoilers to when they get Mike out of jail.
I can't even do that. Like
I'm okay with the jail plot line.
Nobody's working. Everybody's just going back and forth to Danbury every day, just times a day. And
as soon as Donna makes her own smart speaker, I'm out.
No. Once he was once he actually told Rachel about his situation, and they have that crazy scene in the file room.
The file room, yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's basically downhill from there because like now people are aware. The way the show starts, so good. right? With
the more I was re-binging it, the more I'm thinking about how they're going to do the spin-off, the California version, the LA suits.
I mean, unless it's a genius guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's going to happen? Like, what is it? Just going to be a law show? There's like the whole thing with Suits was just Mike's ability.
Oh, maybe this guy isn't like the super smart fake attorney. Maybe he was disbarred and he takes on a different identity or something. I don't know. Like maybe like you gotta have that thing that you don't want anyone to find out about.
Yeah, some twist that keeps the show
Also,
going.
We need Harvey is actually Batman.
Yes,
he'd be a great Batman or Two-Face, really good Batman.
But like a TV show Batman.
Yeah, I don't think he can carry a movie.
He can't carry a movie.
No.
But if you created a Batman series,
it'd also be a good James Bond
of Bruce Wayne into Batman every episode. First half Bruce Wayne, second half Batman, and something Bruce Wayne hears in the morning.
Although he'd be a better Bruce Wayne than Batman. But yeah.
Listen, if you can make freaking Ben Affleck dress as Batman, you can make anyone dress as Batman.
It's true with this crazy back tattoo. He's getting divorced again from the same person.
He's dating Robert Kennedy's niece or whatever.
He drives a Rivian. Black.
I don't understand how you dropped J-Lo for Robert Kennedy's niece. That's the second time he dropped an attractive Jennifer for a nobody.
I think that tells you how men work, right? Like, I don't think any guy actually cares in his core about like his significant other, his female significant other's net worth or earning capability. Like,
it comes down strange is strange. That's what it comes down to.
I don't think that's a thing, man. Like, maybe I'm watching too many of those fit and whatever podcasts where they get the like all the people around the table and they're like, well, I'm a this and I'm a that, and all the guys are like, yeah, but can you cook? Can you clean? Like, can you raise some kids? Like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm trying to make my millions. I don't know. Anyway, any final thoughts? I'm excited for football.
Yeah,
at least for a couple weeks.
I'm excited just for the 4:00 Sunday nap. I think more so than actual football.
Yeah, and the fall. I'm done. The last couple of days, it's like it was really nice for a week, and then 100. And what was this thunderstorm that we had today too? It's not
supposed to be raining for like 5 days. No, I'm done with fall. I'm over it. I mean, I'm done with summer. I'm ready for fall.
So look, we got a couple shows on the docket for those that are out there that are waiting for it, or that are interested, or maybe that are just listening and curious. We need to do a Commanders schedule breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get that in. I would like to do NFL at large because there'd be so many teams that look completely different.
Yeah,
everyone's pumping up the Texans right now. I think the Chargers low-key might be.
They got Heineke. They got your boy.
Interesting move. Really interesting move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're creating a controversy there, although there shouldn't be one because Herbert is the guy. Seattle is probably going to be really bad, which sucks for Howell. Like I'm not cheering against him, but they don't have pass catchers. They don't have running backs. They don't have. I don't know what
they got. They got DK
and a very, very old Tyler. But I'm surprised actually that DK didn't demand a trade or get moved.
It's probably coming.
Cowboys, like there's a lot of storylines around the league. CeeDee Lamb getting a monster contract, but the quarterback is still unsecured. Like, and somehow Zeke was not good enough to play there anymore in any capacity, so he gets traded or gets dropped. But then I think he's starting the season as the starting running back.
And they brought in Dalvin Cook,
who's out for a month.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that at
all. But 6 years ago, running back of the
do we know if Diggs is back to team up with like that defense could be really good again? Remember they lost was it Trayvon Diggs, I think, first game?
Diggs is back, but their other guy Bland went out with an injury.
Okay. So like that's an interesting storyline to me. I think Buffalo.
We also need to talk about how stupid the Giants front office is. If you watched the Hard Knocks that they did.
Yes, we do need to talk about this.
That
was really insightful about
really insightful, and the Giants are terrible. They're a terrible franchise.
I expect the Bills to take a really big step back.
The Bills. No, I think Curtis Samuel balls out on the Bills.
I don't see it. They still can't run the ball either.
He'll be okay.
It's a problem. It's always a problem for
Don't
him.
say that, man. I drafted Allen as my fantasy quarterback.
I think that was stupid. And you've, I mean, Cincinnati, I think takes a step forward. I think they
go back. They go back to the Chiefs level.
So anyway, I want to do like let's do an NFL, like around the NFL show. We got to do. I want to get LP in here to talk about. We'll do the Commanders.
I thought you were going to say
schedule breakdown. Well, I mean, I'd love to talk some soccer. Not with you, because you'll just look at me weird. But yeah, and then
get your Premier League soccer chatter people on.
I mean, that's a good chat. I mean, anytime there's something happening, they get in there. But I mean, the U.S. is making some. I don't want to talk to you about it, but they're making some moves.
I gotta look. I know we changed our head coach, and come on, and
you give me 2 players. Give me 2 players on the team.
Pulisic and someone else.
Okay, well, that's good enough.
Fired Berhalter.
That's good. That's good.
I'm trying here.
That's good. It's good. Yeah. Okay. So I think we're done. Unless you got anything else.
I'm good.
Feels good to be back.
It's nice to be back.
We also got to get Stevie in here and Matt the Met to talk about. I got to learn more about the cruise missile.
Yeah, I'm.
I
won't contribute, but I want to hear what Stevie has to say about the Nets.
Yes, the Nats seem very interesting to me. I feel like they should be. All of a sudden, they should be buyers. And then there was an article in the Post I want to get both of their opinions on as well about potentially bringing Juan Soto back to DC.
Yeah, the Junkies talked about it this week.
Yes. I mean, that would be.
Did you hear their question?
What was the question?
If you could have 1 year of a return, do you take 1 year of Juan Soto back or 1 year of Trent Williams back? Exactly.
I mean, who'd you pick?
I mean, I go Trent Williams. Screw baseball.
I think you have to go Trent Williams because you're more likely to get 16 games out of him.
Yeah.
And all 16 you'll be competitive in all 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this was like a 4-year deal or multi-year, you gotta go with Juan Soto because Juan Soto's super unique in that he's entering his prime and he's a Boris guy, but he's gonna get a huge contract, another one, with like 15 productive years still ahead of him.
Yeah.
Because he came in so young.
Baseball money is just insane.
I know. But the Nets should be buyers. I mean, I don't know enough to talk about it, but like they're not as horrendous as people thought they were going to be. So
for as long as we were horrendous for a little bit.
Yeah.
We somehow, some way.
I mean, outside of the dead Strasburg money, I think this offseason they should be buyers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, FP, thank you for hanging out. We went a little bit long, but it felt good to get back in the studio and hit record. Honestly, there's so much dust on my mixer. I gotta like relearn everything. LP had to help me sign in because like all the accounts were dead. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time the next couple of days getting all this stuff cleaned up, and then we'll get back on the show. I think we had a very, very strong run last year of a minimum of 1 show per week.
We could do that again.
I think we can absolutely do that. Plus, we're gonna try putting some shows in the can as well, off-topic shows. Things that are not necessarily Commanders or NFL specific. So looking forward to it. Thank you again, FP. If you're listening for the first time, the show is called DTC. It's available on every podcasting platform out there. If it's not your first time, welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us for the past hour or so. You can engage with us on every social media platform. We're going to be doing some cleanup. Logo stays, but the intro music is going to be changing. So stay on the lookout or stay tuned in for that. Feel free to drop us a line anytime. And I did have one last thing. If you want to email the show, some people have going into towards the end of the last season for us when we were last couple of seasons, people didn't want to post comments. They didn't want their name flashed on the screen on YouTube, or they didn't want their picture out there. Totally fine by us. No problem. If you notice, we actually don't even use our last names here. That being said, you can email the show. And I'll put the email. We'll start linking it. You can email an anonymity 100% guaranteed. We will read your comment. We will not read your name. We will not flash your photo or anything else on the screen. So if that's your preference, we will make sure that you can email the show anytime, defeatingthecurse@gmail.com. We will read it. We will talk about it, but we will not. We'll dap you up privately, but anonymity 100% guaranteed. So if you got crazy stories, and I know there's a couple out there, happy to read them online and discuss, but something new that's coming for whatever season we're in now, season 7 or season 8 of the show. So anyway, FP, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. We'll get the boys in here over the next couple of days and get cranking as the NFL season gets underway and we get back to the podcast, regularly scheduled programming. So thanks again. My name is Joe, FP, LP for Stevie, for Razzie, for Matt the Met, for our boy 20 as well. It's good to be back. You'll hear from us soon. We are out.